There are 4 different logarithm properties at this point that we're going to work with. These 4 properties help us in expanding and writing logs as a single log. We're going to work with the properties and condense and expand some of these logarithmic functions. However, the ultimate goal is that knowing these properties end-to-end is going to help us when we solve log properties. The first log property we're going to work with is the product property. This is written log base b of m times n. Now, this is the condensed version, so if this was given to you, we then expand this by writing log base b of m plus log base b of n. So here's an example. If I gave you log base 2 of 6x, you would expand this by saying log base 2 of 6 plus log base 2 of x. Notice that when we expand a log, the base of each of the logs you're expanding, obviously we're going from 1 log to then 2, the base is the exact same value. The next property is the quotient property. If we were given log base b of m divided by n, we would expand this by writing log base b of m minus log base b of n. Now with this property, it's really important to note that the log that has the negative is the log that's in the denominator. So now we're going to do an example. So if I gave you log base b of, I'm going to make it base 8 of x over 3, you would say log base 8 of x minus log base 8 of 3. The next log property is called the power property. So if I was given log base b of m, and then this m was raised to the x power, I expand it by writing it this way. X times log base b of m. So if you notice that this x is now was in the exponent or as our power, and now it turns into a coefficient and it's getting multiplied by log base b of m. So whenever I talk about this one, I always refer to it as the exponent flies down in front. So if I gave you the example log base 3 of x squared, you can write it as 2 times log base 3 of x. The final property we're going to work with is called the inverse property. Some other teachers might refer it as a different name. The names aren't important to me as much as just being able to know how to condense and how to write as a single logarithm and expand them. So the inverse property, there's 2 parts. The first part is this. If I gave you log base b of b to the m, this just equals m. So if you can notice, this essentially cancels itself out, and this is why. So if we apply the property we just dealt with, we take this m and we fly it in front. So technically my next step would be m times log base b of b. Well, at this point we've evaluated logs with the same base and coefficient. So if I was saying b to the what gives me b, you're going to say, well, that's 1. So this whole thing right here equals 1, which then turns into m times 1, which is why our final answer, or this property, states that log base b of b to the m is just m. The second part to this is if I was saying x with the power of a logarithm, so log base x of b, this equals b. So similar like the one before, this cancels and the b flies down. So before I'm going to take, and this is y, the b comes down in front, so I have b times x, times x to the log base x. Now if we fly this exponent down in front, we can actually put it right in front of b, so then we would say b times log base x of x, which we know from earlier, just before in this first part right here, that this is 1, so that's why our final answer is strictly b. Now I hope I didn't confuse you guys too much with showing you why those properties were that way. So let me give you 2 examples and hope that it clears any questions that you have. So if I gave you log base 9 of 9 squared, the answer is 2. This essentially cancels out and the 2 flies down in front, which is why we have just 2. Now given it the other way, if I said, okay, if I have 12 to the log base 12 of x now, then this equals x. And it's essentially, you have to just know that this again turns into 1, it cancels out, it goes away, and this x flies down, which is why our answer is x. So this is an easy property, both parts of this is an easy property to kind of have memorized, but I try to explain to you why it was the way it is. So if you have any questions, ask me tomorrow in class.